Good evening, everybody. How we doing? Welcome to tonight's stream. Hope everyone's had a good start to the week so far. Welcome, Steven, my man. How you doing? Welcome. Are you enjoying the colder weather here in Melbourne now? I think we had that one last day of warmth. What was it? There was like a 35-degree day, or it got up to 35 degrees in the afternoon on like a weekend once. And I'm like, that's it. That's all the warm weather gone. We're finally into all the cold. Don't know if I'm crazy happy about it, but, you know, what can you do when you live in Victoria? So tonight, guys, we are going to be going back to the squishy tail rig squirrely thing that I was working on last week. An old character that we've had for a while that we're going to try and get completed to some degree. But during the week, I've had it's one of those things that I've wanted to pull the band-aid off on for a while now. Naming conventions. I'm not happy with my naming conventions anymore. With my joints and controls and things like that. I think I mentioned this in streams prior. My names are overly long and complicated and complex and have a lot of junk information. And I'd like to start sunsetting a lot of it if I can. Which isn't an entirely easy task, because a lot of my system that I have right now has an ingrained naming system, which doesn't make it very flexible, unfortunately. So I'm not going to be pulling out giant things, first of all. It's more going to be smaller steps to begin with, where initially it's just going to be joint renaming. I've already got an idea of what I sort of want to get working on tonight's stream. Because, as you all know, I've got my joint layouts and things like that, my guides, which I utilize, which basically churn out a bunch of joints, renaming those to something that's going to be a bit more beneficial. Because even if I want to, make my joint guides into a product or something at some point, if I want to release the code, that would still be useful to people, because obviously you don't want to have the same joint naming conventions all the time. But then I need to go into more my modules, my actual rigging modules, because I want to change the naming conventions of my controls to something that's going to be a bit easier to comprehend and work with. And that's going to be important because when naming conventions change for controls, obviously that's going to change. It's going to break animation and things like that. So I'd like to get it out of the way sort of quickly, if I can. The problem being I'm very, very busy at the moment. And I haven't had a lot of time to work on my personal code because I'm doing other stuff. So, yeah, we'll see how likely that's all going to be. But anyway, enough of my beautiful, beautiful face. Let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of tonight. Yes, actually, let's open up PyCharm. Now, yeah, you can sort of see in here, I've got started setting up Rig Core B. I'm sure this is something that will not surprise people, because I've probably done something very similar before. Renamed all of my Core B, Core C stuff into Core A. Now I'm doing it all over again, as I want to do. But there's some stuff in here. I've got some lists where I was basically... a list dictionary, where I was saying, okay, for the key, we're going to change it over to this name. The main idea behind it is just, pure legibility, essentially. My initial thoughts on naming conventions were keeping everything nice and consistent. That means, no matter what the thing is, it's going to have, a certain amount of sort of string separated by an underscore. The problem with this is the names for transforms and objects and whatnot get very, very long very, very quickly. And it leads to a lot of information which isn't necessarily important. So these ones on the left here, these are all ones that I've sort of already have for this tail character. And this is what I want to reduce them down to. It's still very, very similar, but it reduces some of the faff. And I also want to swap around some of the conventions as well. Basically having a prefix, a string for the side, and then a string for the type of object it is, be it a joint, a transform, hierarchy, things like that. If you've never seen the Cult of Rig streams before, Raf, who used to run that, who now works for Epic and stuff, he did a really good, I think one of his first streams was about naming conventions, which was really eye-opening. And I think I might have, like, focused on some elements more than others. But now that I've had time to sort of, like, work with my systems and everything, it's made me sort of realize, yeah, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is irrelevant. Like, I don't need to specify that it's within a joint module every single time. It's kind of inferred. You know, I don't need to have, like, certain things like these base and things sort of act as an iterator, but then I've also got another iterator afterwards in the form of numbers and things like that. So all of this can just be condensed down, and I just want a way of setting that up, basically. So in some of my other characters, I believe, who can I go into just sort of demo this? Do I have something for human? I believe in some of my characters, I already have dictionaries set up for recreating joint chains. Because when doing things like working for specific studios that have maybe a certain kind of joint naming convention, or they're using something like a meta human rig, or a what's the guy in Unreal called? Manny or whatever, the mannequin rigs, they have a very specific naming convention. So the joints that I use, I sort of use them as a base layer, build a bunch of joints off them, drive them with my joints, and then those are the ones that get exported. So I've already had a few dictionaries set up in here to do that kind of thing. And I want to sort of like piggyback off those potentially for this system. So basically it's a dictionary which contains a bunch of strings and a other dictionary inside of it. So these dictionaries basically say, okay, we've got like the joints that we're deriving from have a certain side naming system, and the ones we're going to be creating are going to have a certain side naming system, so we can like mirror them over and easily build them and don't have to specify the same joints like for each side twice, and just make things a little bit more legible. So this kind of gets like very, very big very quickly, but a lot of this information is basically just having the name, and oh yeah, you can also change what the parent of the joint is if you want as well. I'm wondering if this might all be overkill for what we need, potentially. The main thing we need is we just need, like, a source joint, an output joint, the two names, basically, you know, the start joint that we derived from, the name we turned it into, and if we want to mirror that as well, so rather than, you know, putting it into the dictionary twice, we can just say do mirror, and then you need to derive, like, the certain naming conventions from the first joint to the second joint, and just, you know, knowing what to search for and replace. Let us see, how do I want to approach setting something like that up? Because I've got this joint test here where I did a bunch of just very simple renaming based on this structure. But we may want to expand this for what I'm doing tonight. So let's start doing that now. Let's call this tail rig renaming dictionary. And within that, we'll set up, what was I calling it in Human A? Names and parents and references. So, yeah, because I believe this is for recreating entire chains. Because theoretically, I don't need to create a different dictionary each time. If I sort of have like a core dictionary structure that I use for all my joint renaming, it can be used to, you know, name things, create a new joint chain, move it back to the original one, things like that. Yeah, what do we want to call them? Like source, side strings. Source and destination is normally what I go for. But I don't know if that makes sense here. We want these to be these by default. Same with these ones here. Okay, we might want to change this around. And then we have the actual joint dictionary. Might want to do a joint dictionary list rather than just one huge dictionary. So, yeah, source and destination. Maybe not. Maybe like original and new. That might make things a bit clearer. Original. Joint. And then, joint. So with the likes of that, we can pop that into there. Do I have... What is going to be the most optimal way to set this all up? Why are you... Oh, this one. Round the wrong way. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way? Enough about me, enough about my naming conventions. How's everyone in the chat doing? How has their weeks been so far? Because as I do this, how many do we need? This is going to be a lot. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 9. It has to be a good way of like creating a way to auto-populate this list and everything. Let's just do this a whole bunch of times. Woohoo! Dick Official, welcome, welcome. Working and listening along. I'll try and make things more interesting, the stuff I'm talking about. Hopefully it all makes sense, what I'm talking about so far. And the sort of idea behind it. I'm also very, yeah, like I said, I'm sort of like very, very tired. Did I say I'm very tired tonight? I might have mentioned I'm very tired. I've been working like a dog all week. Had a very strict deadline for a project this week, which was only 2 weeks long. Basically compacting a lot of complex, bespoke stuff into a 2-week period. So I was like pulling a few later nights trying to get it all done in time. So yeah, I'm not like crazy full of energy, unfortunately. It might be an earlier stream tonight. We'll see how it all goes. Oh boy. Hey, it works. It's been okay, despite the fact I got sick last week. That is no good, Stephen. Did you... It wasn't COVID, was it? I think cases are kind of on the rise in Australia again. It was a interesting project, Dick Official. It's like, it's one of those ones I really like, sort of unique challenges. And there were certainly like a lot of unique challenges within it. I just wish I had a bit more time to work on it, unfortunately. But as soon as I finish this one up, I basically have a bunch of other projects that I'm supposed to be moving on to. In fact, I think I've got like 3 different ones that I need to do some stuff on tomorrow, which is going to be a whole other bunch of interesting things to sort of sort out. And then I start on another project on Thursday, which is going to last for about the same amount of time, another 2 weeks or something. So I definitely cannot complain about being busy. Unfortunately, that's made me sort of fall behind on streaming stuff and whatnot, but got to make a living somehow. The life of a freelance artist, you know? There's some months where there's absolutely no work, and then there's some months where you have so much work to do, it's just no free time. Let's just steal all of those. That one. Convert that over. End. Boom. Okay, cool. I guess I can get rid of that list for now. One thing I want to do as well. So one thing you've probably noticed me do in my streams quite a lot is if I build my tail rig. If I build it with my guides, my tail rig guides, this should all be a familiar sort of process. It loads through it runs through everything. It loads everything up. We have a bunch of controls and a bunch of joints, and it basically lays it all out for us. Now this guy doesn't have two poses. He's only got one pose that we sort of use as both my A pose and my T pose. So the T pose just being shorthand for the name of the rig pose that I set the rig to before I create any controls, and the A pose being shorthand for the sort of standard bind pose. And we probably remember, you go into my extract and set joint poses, and you've probably seen me do this a few times where I'd like click on a joint, extract the A pose, hide that, I'd go to like frame 11 where I've set all my animations to, extract the T pose, I grab both of these joints, I build tag joints, and then we create a joint which has a bunch of metadata on it, which we can toggle between the poses. In fact, that might be better to show off with the human rig. I think we set this up at some point. Let's give that a go. Might take a little bit longer because there's a bunch more joints, but you can sort of see the process that goes behind it. Because essentially I want to automate this process a little bit as well, where I can specify, because essentially with all my rigs, I always save out an A and T pose just as sort of like standard, because a lot of my code will set them by default. So it's just good practice. And with the likes of these rigs, I'm not just limited to those poses. I can add extra ones in if I need to refer to them at a certain point in time. Like with asymmetrical characters, even though you're rigging them in an asymmetrical sort of way, you probably want to symmetrize them first, and then from the symmetry pose, create the T pose. Or sometimes, like in the future, if I want to add some additional poses, like, if I want to sort of set like a fist pose and then extract that information from how the fist is set and then transfer it into the rig somehow, that might be useful as well. I've done that at studios prior, and that's quite good. Yeah, so you can sort of see here. So I've recreated all the I built all the guides for my human character. On frame 1, we've got the standard A pose, the bind pose, and if we go to frame 11, we have the T pose. So my process of manually extracting all this is we select the root joint, we extract the A pose, it's going to go through, extract all the joints and give them like a little naming prefix. Hide that, I go to frame 11, same thing, select the root, extract the T pose, we'll extract out the pose with the right naming, then I select both of those, and I build tag joints from that. All that does is it creates a hierarchy that is named without any of like I think it's, hold on, if we hide that. I think these joints have like guide as the initial prefix, so it swaps all the names over and everything. But also from here, we can grab the root joint, and if we select that tag joint, we've got all the different poses in here. So, I can set a pose. So like for example, I think I could just create my own pose if we do this. If we grab these and sort of like maneuver that into a weird different position. If I search and replace T-pose, and we rename this to something like temp pose. I'm pretty sure I can select 1, 2, 3. And build tag joints from all 3. it'll still spit out this original one. And you can see now we've got the additional pose in there as well. So I can go to the A pose, go to the T pose, and go to that new temp pose. So basically I want to automate that process, so I can say like, okay, my A pose is going to be frame 1, let's extract that. My T pose is going to be frame 11, let's extract that. Recreate that tag joint hierarchy, delete all the stuff we don't need anymore, and maybe also run through this renaming convention stuff as well. So we still keep all this pose information, we just rename the joints just through this script, and it spits us out something with a hierarchy that's, you know, a bit more legible than what we've got here. So that's what we're going to be looking at first of all. It's probably just going to be temp locations for all this code as I'm setting it up and just sort of testing. But eventually I'll centralize it a bit more. So we probably want like pose dictionary. Because just as I go through and test this out, I may want to swap things around a little bit. So I can say like A pose, and that's going to be in frame 1. T pose, that's going to be in frame 11. And then def temp joint script. And we'll probably want a dictionary to specify in here, but well, we don't have that. Dictionary equals dictionary, or this one that we've already sort of established in here. So the first thing we want to do is extract the poses. Actually, the one thing we'll need as well is the root joint, which in this case is going to be that one. Same thing, we can probably specify that in here. Basically, like, I think what would be good sort of at the end of all this is if I can have a UI where I can quickly generate sort of like this as a sort of data dictionary, which I can save out to a JSON file or whatever, and then reuse that as I'm building characters. So I can quickly specify all these elements, save it out, and then load them back in when the time is needed. So we're going to extract the poses first of all. I actually need to remember how to extract these poses because I can't remember what I'm doing. Let's go to the UI. I'm going to be making a whole bunch of weird faces as I'm trying to figure out where it is. Joint pose UI. It is, oh, because I've got a script that extracts the A pose. Extract pose. Guide module scripts. That's good to know. Well, the first thing we want to do is pull that across. So we can load that in here. Okay, so we need to extract the dictionary. So dictionary equals dictionary get dictionary. Oops. Otherwise, just do it as empty. And for key in pose dictionary, keyframe is going to equal, actually, rather than calling it key, we can call that pose. Saya Keiko, welcome. So you're building a script that changes the naming conventions of a humanoid rig and applies A and T poses, or just any pose from your own pose library. So the way it works is... Hello, Robbie. Hello. the way it works is, what's the best way to sort of describe it? I don't want to limit myself to too much stuff. I want to make sure, so basically when I set up all of my guides and whatnot, I'll generally have the 2 poses. We're basically extracting all those out and just creating my joint hierarchy the way I'd normally do, and then renaming that hierarchy to something, you know, whatever we want it to be, essentially. In the process of doing that, like we can sort of see on my character here, if we go into the attributes, we're going to see a string attribute underneath, where's the extra attributes? So we've got joint pose meta tag. So this basically is a dictionary nested within this attribute. And you can see in here we've got information about joints, the translation, rotation, what they're all set as. So this is my way of just storing pose information on this character. The issue being all of these names are hard-coded in here, right? And if we change the names for all of this joint hierarchy, and we like say, okay, I want to apply this pose, it's going to say, okay, well, we need to find this joint. Oh, this joint doesn't exist. We're not going to do anything. So basically in the renaming process, not only do I need to update the names of the joints themselves, I also need to convert all the names over in this metadata tag as well. I have set this up before. It's not actually too difficult to do with my, with the way I'm sort of like interacting with this meta tag. Yeah, the main thing right now is I just want to automate the process of extracting out those initial poses as well. So the keyframe is going to be the pose dictionary. Let's feed the pose in. Because we basically need to, what is it? Time? Commands. It's time where you set. What's the command for going to a keyframe? Current time, that's it. Ew, Mel, what is all that stuff in there? Yeah, that's what you need. Cool. Hey, Amish, welcome, welcome. You are probably going to be more tired than I am, even though I am tired. I assume you're still up very, very early in the morning. Have you been to sleep? Did you wake up? Current time, and then on that, that's when... No sleep. No rest for the wicked, huh? Sleep when you're dead. Don't actually sleep when you're dead. You should actually sleep. Sleep is very important. 8 hours. Get it, people. The key to a long and healthy life. I see. So this is something to make life easier for the animator. Not really, actually. This is more to make life easier for me. You know, it's kind of a way, it does, in a roundabout way, it does make life easier for an animator. The idea of setting up multiple poses for your, like, joints, is because we, as riggers, generally want to, when we skin a character, we want it to be in a bind pose that makes sense. But when we rig the character, when we put a bunch of controls on the character, we don't often want it to be that same pose. Like the A pose that we have this humanoid character in, if I actually set it to that A pose. Like this isn't very useful for creating controls around because like if we want to create like IK controls in world space, like, this isn't a very good thing because, like, the hand is aiming off in a random direction. It makes more sense to set it to a more structured T-pose where the hands are sort of hands and feet and everything is sort of aligned in world space, and we can create controls from that. Like, there is totally ways you could sort of, like, create a world space orientation for an IK and then snap it into position for, like, offsets and things like that, but I find just setting up a T-pose just makes it a bit easier, and then I can use my mocap system afterwards to, like, snap things back on top and whatnot, so. Did I? Oh yeah, I renamed that. So we basically want, I should stop saying basically a lot. Caffeine is seriously too strong. What kind of caffeine have you been drinking? Coffee or energy drinks or tea or something? And we want the pose to be pose. After all that, let's set the current keyframe to 0. All right. So let's just test that this will all work the way I sort of envision. Extracting that one. Cool, okay, that worked. You'd be dead earlier when you don't sleep, so I guess you get to sleep longer when you don't sleep. I read an interesting book. It's called Why We Sleep? Yeah, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. It's a really good book. It sort of like goes through the science of sleep and why everybody should get 8 hours of sleep per night and why it's so essential. It's very eye-opening, especially when you're like in your 30s like I am. Oh, Mish, thank you so much.
Eruptus is a terrible disorder where the skeleton tries
to leap out the mouth and escape the body. Now you're talking. Mish, always appreciate the support. Thank you so much for that. I'll make sure to give you Skeleton Crew access in our Discord. 1 second, where are you? Oh, I found ya. Boom. So you'll get access.
Why did they come to our concert just to boo us?
Oh, and also thank you very much for the follow, Gulban. Ooh, that's a nice name. Welcome, welcome. Feel free to introduce yourself in chat if you want. Yeah, Mish, I think a few weeks ago I posted like my script for running through the highest influence on geometry, if you want to like pick that up. Yeah, for those who don't know, who are new to the stream, if you go to our Discord channel, generally we're trying to build a small rigging community there, but if you also subscribe to the channel, you get access to our special Skeleton Crew channels, where I post some of my work in progress things and scripts I use and stuff like that for you guys to pick up and use to your own satisfaction. The also nice thing is we get a bunch of cool emotes that you can utilize now as well. Yeah, we're trying to aim to get 15 subs, because I think I can make some new emotes once I get to that. Twitch is a little weird in that regard. I'm also going to do a stream where I stream entirely in a Bane voice. Oh, dude.
Describe point to bonus eruptus. It's a terrible disorder.
See, you're the first person
to leap out the mouth and escape the body.
No, you're talking.
First person to ever give a sub in my stream, so thank you very much as well. Sir Black Soul. Is Sir Black Soul a mate of yours, or just random? Sir Black Soul, that is Ooh, that's a good name as well. Just random. Yeah, thank you very much for that, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your contributions to helping the community keep going and stuff like that as well. So it's been great. Damn, I'm subs, and I'm getting off track. What was I doing? Yes, okay, so we got that set up. We got the extract of the poses, so now we want to create the tagged joint hierarchy. And the way we do that is I go into my joint pose UI and I figure out what we need to do. Convert to tag joints. Oh yeah, interesting. I guess I have to do more rigging myself to see how bad it is. It really is. Though I am using Blender myself and I am self-taught. Keiko, do you prefer being called Sia or Keiko? Or are you an animator per se? Are you learning? Are you studying? Sia. Yeah, are you currently learning animation, or are you employed, or working for a studio? Made myself into a 3D generalist. 3D generalists, I always find like riggers themselves are sort of kind of broadly 3D generalists in a way, because to be a rigger you sort of have to know like a little bit of everything. Like I can do like modeling and sculpting and code and rigging and animation, things like that, right? So if you're a 3D generalist, that can certainly help you get into rigging a bit more comprehensively, I should say. So we want to do this tag joint one. So the issue with this, or the way I've got this set up, is I need a primary start joint and secondary ones. What I might actually do is I might change this around a bit. Keyframe dictionary instead. Is that going to make sense? Because I generally want that in order. Maybe not. Because is it in Python 3? I'm not sure if that's A pose, that T pose. Actually, with Python 3, it does go through dictionaries in order now. I think, right? This is just like an old system that I've got from like staying over from like Python 2, where I'll, rather than creating a dictionary with a sort of like order to it, I create like a list and then I have the dictionaries like nested inside of it, so they execute those dictionaries in order. But I think Python 3, the dictionaries might execute in order now. I'm not sure. But what we can do, extract poses, pose. Actually, let's see, does this return anything? No, but we can return the root joint. Let's make sure we have to reload this. Port lib, reload. And so basically, root equals that, and we can append those roots and the new root we just created. So that's going to put this inside this list, and we can sort of do a similar thing where the 0, 1 there is going to be the primary one, and that should all work like so. Then, after that, we can delete the post roots because we don't need them anymore. And we should just be left with the tagged joints. So let's delete those. Let's run this through one more time. And if it works, we can celebrate. Oh, did that work? Oh, it did work. Oh, damn, I didn't even realize that worked. One thing we probably want to do is set it back to that original pose. Is there a way? Extract joints with metadata. I think this is the root joint. We might want to set the pose. Actually, yeah, we should do that. Do I have set pose? And the pose string is going to be primary string. That's something I should have done ages ago. I started in Second Life in a couple of years ago, and I bring my assets through the whole process, modeling, UVing, texturing, rigging, and existing avatars using pre-made dev kit. But building my own rig and IK controls, as well as animating in a more serious way, is something I haven't done a lot of. It's fun, but I don't have too much use for the skill. I've heard, like, Second Life, because it's like one of those... Now, I don't... Would you call it a game? Second Life's pretty much like it's a game, right? I know some people see it as like a metaverse or things like that, but it's been around like forever. But yeah, like it's because you can like it's so open-ended, you can put in like a bunch of your own stuff, right? And because of that, it's really cool for like building bespoke characters and rigs. Sort of like VR chat. There was always like, I think there's always been like people who is like, okay, I want stuff in Second Life, I want stuff in VR chat, and now it's like people want VTuber rigs and things like that. So like all of these programs are really cool for like helping teach or helping people learn like the fundamentals of a sort of a 3D pipeline. Yeah, I remember some of my students back in the day when I was teaching like over a decade ago or whatever were raving about Second Life stuff. In fact, I think they did one of their assignments or put it into Second Life afterwards, which was interesting. Do you have any like OC characters that you put into Second Life? Do you do commissions or? Okay, we'll do this one more time. Run this through. Should probably put a print statement at the end as well. Right. Done. Cool. Yes, this is working. Fantastic. Great. I'm gonna celebrate.
Well, this calls for a celebration.
I will. So after we got that done, now will come the joint renaming process. Then let's GO. Oh, I'm out of tea. On that note, I will quickly be back as I get some more tea. I'll quickly swap it over to the Be Right Back screen, run a quick ad break, and I will be back in just a minute. Give me 1 second, folks.
You're now listening to Makarosu 8299.
And we're back. Welcome, welcome, Galban. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the celebration, as it were. Yeah, by the way, if people who are new to the stream, we have a bunch of commands which will prompt a bunch of stupid videos to come up on my screen. Always a lark. I haven't added any new ones in a while. What were the ones I added, like... I always forget which ones I add. I need to actually go to, like... if you go into, like, my profile, it'll tell you a whole bunch of them. You can also type in, like, commands into the chat, and it'll come up there as well. What were some fun ones I added? Oh, yeah.
Endless trash!
Second Life is quite restricted in the rigging department. You can only get a handful of bones, around 150, which all need very specific hierarchy and naming. Shader-wise, yeah, normal, all that standard stuff. There's no stopping you from uploading an unoptimized meshed. Yeah, I think that's very sort of like standard with most like game engines, you know? In terms of like, I mean, because like it's the same if you want to upload something to say like the Dota store or, you know, I guess now, like, what did they announce with Unreal the other day? Like you can, it's like an Unreal editor for Fortnite or something. Like there's all these things now where you can just start bringing Unreal or Unreal Editor for Fortnite or whatever it's called, Fortnite Unreal Editor. Like it's basically what modding used to be, you know, 10, 20 years ago. But it's like much, much more robust and easy to pick up and use and everything. It's crazy. It's great. Like Epic's basically doing what Valve used to do back in the day, and just like providing people with all the tutorials and information, just to do it like outright. No having to sift through like hundreds of forum threads to get the stuff you want, basically. It's, yeah, kids these days, spoiled, honestly. Ooh. I really need to get that to execute.
Okay, Millhouse, you know the drill. Right! You go over and wow them. I hide in the shrubs.
So, we have this. The rename script. So... with this. So I don't actually want to specify those ones, or those ones. Instead, I want to go do mirror true. We'll get away from this guy, and we'll go back to the squishy guy, which we were intending to do. Let me just, come on, let me reload that guy. In Second Life, you often get boots that are 300k tries each with several 1k textures. Yeah, Jesus. In VR chat, you at least get the performance thing, which I feel helps performance a good chunk. Yeah, I guess it's like that's the... I guess the difference in, I guess maybe not even experience, but just, yeah, obviously that should all be optimized. But if somebody just wants to get something they've sculpted into ZBrush into the game they're playing, then, you know, they're not going to bother looking up model optimization tutorials, because that's going to be a whole bunch of extra time. Just chuck it in and slow the game down to a crawl. 150 joints as well. I mean, you can get a lot done with 150 joints. Although, like, a project I worked on recently wasn't limited by game engine. So I think I had like some basically sort of like extendable and retractable limbs, which had maybe 250 joints in each side just to maintain deformation. So, yeah. When you're in film or like animation or whatever, like you're spoiled for choice because you don't have to be restricted by game engines. Okay, so we got this. So in terms of the rename script, so we want to go to joint dictionary list. For how do we want to call this? Joint dictionary in actually we want that first of all. Joint dictionary list. Arshad24, welcome, welcome. I bet that's challenging in another way. Yeah, that's one of the things moving from or working on more game-related projects is I didn't even think about like skinning optimization until very, very recently, which is probably bad because I've just like never had to worry about it before. And then I'm like, oh yeah, games need like max influences and stuff, right? Which PSU you're using for your PC having RTX Super? Arshad, I could not tell you, my friend. PSU? What is a PSU? Power supply unit. I'm not sure. Mine was a pre-built. PSU. Dictionary get. So get that. I want it to be an empty list. For joint dictionary and joint dictionary list. Let's extract out. So we want original joint and new joint. That's one thick dictionary. Galman, like, I love putting things in dictionaries. Especially because it can be, like, saved out to JSON and things like that. If you haven't been in these streams before and you haven't seen some of my, like, character builds, like, you should see these are all, like, my scripts that I use to create, all of my animation modules, so like my spine, my neck, my legs, everything that drives the rig. You can see they're all in dictionaries, which I feed into functions or methods, and that's sort of like how I build all of my stuff. So in this case here, I'm just nesting a whole bunch of dictionaries inside a dictionary, and then extract them out as I need it. I had a RTX 2060. It got smoked burned last year. Last time. Having doubt if PSU needs to be changed or do I need to use power surge protection with the PC? I've never really had any issues, Arshad. Like, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, honestly, building PCs is... I hate it. I just much prefer, like, somebody else do it, or I get a pre-built or something like that, because it just sort of takes the guesswork out of it. Which, you know, coming from somebody who's very technical focused as a rigger is probably weird to say. But yeah, man, I've never had like any issues with mine, but you know, I've had friends who've had their graphics card like, you know, immolate and things like that in their PC, so who the hell knows. But they were like on 340s, 360s, whatever they are, 350s. I'll be looking. Got some horror movies to watch and some stuff to properly topo and optimize. That in itself is its own kind of horror movie, I'm assuming, Sia. But thank you very much for dropping by. What horror movie are you going to watch? Dictionary, let's get... The Nest. Not sure I'm familiar with that one. Is it an older one? Newer one? Does anybody in chat have particularly good recommendations for horror films? my friends and I were going through the, what do you call them? The Nightmare on Elm Street movies over Halloween last year and everything. I think we only got up to 4, and then the streaming services we were watching them on, like, took them down just before Halloween, which was bullshit. So I need to watch, like, Beyond Freddy, I think Freddy 5. Nightmare on Elm Street 5 is the one I need to get to. Little girl's got a teddy from a yard sale. Apparently she's not infected with insects that pose a hive mind kind of thing. Only a couple of minutes in. Oh, jeez. Okay, well. That's not what I was expecting, but that sounds unique. Interesting. Set that to filled. So, with this... this is easy enough to do. Because all you have to do is rename original joint to new joint. And if, oops, no, if do mirror, we want the mirrored original joint. We want the mirrored new joint. And then we just do the rename here. I recently watched the Dawn of the Dead remake. Is that the Zack Snyder one, Steven? From like 2004-ish or something like that? I need to get, where's my naming script? Because I think, get mirrored name, that's what we want. So here, I can go naming, get mirrored name, I can feed the original joint, and I could do the same thing for this one. Yeah, Zack Snyder, I really like the cinematography in it. Like, say what you will about Zack Snyder, the guy knows how to, like, film a movie. His stuff is very iconic, almost to like almost kind of like detrimental in a way sometimes, you know? Like, I think that's what people say about his work, you know? It's almost like each sequence is just an excuse for like an iconic shot. Because it worked with like 300 because it was based on a comic book and it's like all iconic shots. But yeah, sort of the same with like Michael Bay and everything. Like they're very beautiful. They make very beautiful films, like visually, but you know, maybe narratively it's like another thing. But the Dawn of the Dead remake was actually pretty good from what I remember. I haven't seen it in probably like a decade or two, but yeah, I remember enjoying it. Freaky was great. It's a slasher horror. The original killer used a special dagger to kill someone, but only stabbed them in the shoulder. They body swapped. Oh, that's the one with Vince Vaughn in it, right? It came out like it's sort of like a Freaky Friday, but more like fucked up and horror vibes. Yeah, because I remember I'm like, oh, Vince Vaughn is still around. He's still making movies. It actually looked kind of fun. Yeah, like a Freaky Friday, or what's the shitty Rob Schneider one? The Hot Chick? In that vein. Yeah, I like those kind of horror movies that don't really take themselves too seriously. What was the one, like Happy Death Day or whatever? That one was really good as well. I need to gear original side strings, new side strings. I just watched I See You on Netflix before hopping on the stream. Is I See You a horror movie as well, Mish? Let's build this all now. Oh boy, did I? Oh, I did it here, temp joint script. Okay, this should work. Done. Oh, it did work. And it renamed everything as well. And it did not rename the right side though. Okay. Let's figure out why. print out these names just to see what's going on. I gotta head out. I'll see the VOD later. I've been trying to catch one of these streams live from any US time, and today was my lucky day. Yeah, no worries with Galban. Thank you for dropping by, my friend. I am trying to... I've been saying this for a long time, but I am looking to do, like, my kind of, like, a morning stream on my end, so, like, people in America can actually catch one of these streams for once. I said that when I was like, oh, I've got a bunch of free time coming up, and then I've been working nonstop for 2 months, and I'm probably going to be working nonstop for another month at least to come, so... wishful thinking for the time being, but it's on my list of things to do. So hopefully you can catch one of those. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed the VOD, man. Thank you for dropping by. What is NE? Is that northeast? Northeast. NE US time. $6:30 a.m. Good God, dude. You and me, you guys need sleep. But I do appreciate everybody dropping by the stream and showing their support. You can show your support by sleeping as well, getting a good night's rest afterwards. Let's undo. Oh god, actually, if I undo all that, how's that gonna go? Okay, that's not too bad. Let's run this again. Have I done something? Oh, duh. Same joint. That would be why. Well, I'm an idiot.
Well, I'm an idiot.
Let's do this one more time. We're gonna celebrate one more time. Hey, and everything is renamed. Wunderbar. I'll probably crash and go to bed early later. You keep like a nocturnal schedule, Misha. Somewhat on, you're kind of on Australian time, by the sounds of it. So, with this, I am not going to export this one just yet. Actually, I will export the joints, but one thing I need to do is I need to go rebuild the tail. But I also want to rename these joints so we can save out the skin clusters with the right joint names, because these will have a certain naming convention prior, and we want to update those. And then update it in the code. So let me open up my browser UI, because I don't think I've got one open for some strange reason, and figure out what we saved. Model, tail, so we only got 3. That's pretty easy to deal with. We can go into, where are you, tail? Do delete equals false, because we want to keep the ones that get deleted at the end of the build. Good. Delete me still exists, so the transfer mesh is there. Fantastic. So how do I want to go about renaming? In fact, I could probably just... I only need the dictionary itself. Yeah, okay, for the time being, just so I can rename these. Let's just comment out that stuff. So... see all the joints, got that selectable. So if I run that script I just made before, I've commented out everything that's going to like try and extract poses and whatnot. It's just going to do the renaming aspect. So if I run this, theoretically, this should all still update and rename. Looks like it's gone through and done that. Excellent. So with that now, I can save out those skin clusters again with the new joint naming conventions, because the way my skin clusters work is it saves out the information based on the geometry. And the influence information is per joint. So if the joint's naming conventions change, we're going to make sure that we update our skin clusters to reflect that. So in this case, it's just easier just to update the joints and save out new skin clusters rather than renaming. Oh, damn, actually, before I do that, let's go back because I want to load on my NG skin cluster. Come on, I'm here. Do it, kill me. Come on. Yep. Just make sure I save out the information for this one as well. Now I can rename. This should all update in here. Yep, that's all renamed. Wunderbar. And let's save out the skinning. So if we want this to be first pass, for these ones, and it's for the body geometry and the eye geometry. So save that out. We should have 2 new files, and then we can save out the next NG skin cluster. And we'll also do it for the tail, but that one's not under first pass, that's under transfer. We save out that skin cluster JSON information with the new naming convention. And all we'll need to do now is save out a new version of the joints. So I just exported them before, I've imported that to a clean scene, and we can just save that to our pipeline as well. So files, joints, and we'll maybe major version up. We'll call this joint renamed. Joints renamed. Cool. Now, in our script, to build the character, go to tail A, go to the init. We'll have a bunch of automated things to load in the joints and skin clusters, so we don't need to update any file paths. But we will need to update. Oh yeah, because I built a rivet as well, didn't I? Oh, but I'm copying weights over. That should be okay. But I will probably need to rename those at some point as well. Load latest, first pass, transfer. How's that rivet getting? Oh, because it's just skinned to one joint. That's fine. All right, well, we can update that name in any case. Now that's new. Just going to make sure we do that. And we're also going to have to update the names of the joints in the animation rig build. So say in the body, update that one. The tail joints are now this new convention. Eye joint. The eyes. Let's make sure we grab the right convention for those as well. Side and the ears and the root. Oh, actually, reference joints, because I've renamed these slightly. do... Actually, what did I name the end for the tail? Nothing. Actually, this is probably a good test to make sure this convention actually works. So it's ear 1 and end. And then the root is... Ooh, root joint. Let's update the... root joint, where are you? This one's body. Okay, I think that's all of the joints updated throughout the build. Let's see if I've missed anything. Oops. If I missed an M, yes, I've missed an M in there somewhere. Tail in yar. Let's see, only one error. No! Damn it! I wish I could share a terrible first semester rig I created for a squirrel character I made. It was so janky and hilarious. I learned a lot with the 3D pipeline for sure. What made it so janky, Mish? Was it like the skinning? Was it just the controls you set up for it? Or it's one of those things where like the first rig you do, you learn so much and then you're like, I just want to redo it. I still do that all the time. Most of my streams are me doing that, basically. Where was this erroring? Build manipulators. Transforms. In the tail. Ah, yes. Because I've got spaces, don't I? Rivet. Eyes, ears. Why is that error? I just missed... Constrain reference to... It's in the tail somewhere? Am I missing out on other? No. Four. Oh, yes, because it's the root joint has not been updated. That would be why. It's referring back to the original. This time it should work, I think, as long as there's no other. Yes, sweet. And based on this, let's delete that one. I think everything should be set up the same way. Yeah, all the skinning is still there. All this stuff is still good. Excellent. And you can still move everything around. Cool. So we basically, if we... God. I'm so used to working with other rigs for the previous 2 weeks that I've forgotten how to actually use my own rigs. Yep, we've updated all of the joint naming. All the skin clusters have been transferred over. This is a lot more simplified. And I'll even maybe look at putting this into another hierarchy at some point as well. Cool. All the rigs I built looked like something in Pixar before they made before they made Toy Story. Like the ones from like 1989 and stuff with the little weird baby and the drummer boy and stuff like that. I think everybody's first like models and rigs look like that. What is the? Are we listening? This is Macross 82.99. What is album? This is Cham. Okay. Let's put on something else. One thing I was gonna look at was the scaling issues we were having and how we can sort of like, I wonder what's a way around them, not around them per se, but how do we fix them? I found an old playblast of my squirrel. Mishi, if you want to share it on the Discord, I think Borna, he posted in like Showcase the other week his old rigging tutorial. I was gonna post mine as well, but I haven't. I didn't get a chance to find it this week. I need to do that. Like the one that I used to get like hired at NPC and stuff. So I know the reason. Oh, this is like that issue. It's because they're all within this hierarchy. And is that's world, that's object. Where is, oh boy. Yeah, this is the issue that we're encountering with the eyes here, right? So logic expects, because I've riveted this eye. If you were in the stream last week, you've seen this issue. So the eye should be following along with the body, but we've got this weird offset. And that offset will be fixed if I pull it out into world space and do the same thing. We can see the issue is fixed. So what is going on? The issue is because the parented object, which in this case, or the object that the eyes are parented to, is the body. And in this case, because we're direct connecting the scale of this control to create this like squishy effect, it's altering the scale of this parent hierarchy, which in turn is like causing the child to be scaled in a similar way, and that's offsetting stuff. So when I pull that joint out of the hierarchy, it's no longer got that scaling going on above it, and it doesn't do that issue anymore. Now, I want to try and think of like what is the best way to avoid this whilst keeping everything in the same hierarchy, because I want this to be in game engines, obviously. And I'm not sure if it's just like creating a new hierarchy through scale constraints, potentially. Actually, it might be a good idea to test that just quick. Because I normally don't like scale constraints. Yeah, scale's one of those things that's always incredibly annoying to work with. You just sort of set it up once, forget about it. So let's do scale. That's all following along. Then, what about this eye? Scale constraint. But so... Yeah, same issue. But it does inherit the scale from above. Well, actually, ooh, no, I don't want it to do that, because that orientation is wrong. We want it to be from the river instead. Will that fix the issue? Ooh, it's done something. Doesn't look like it's the right thing, though. The joys of scale, because you can go into joints, and there's the option to tick off segmented scale compensate. But I don't think that's gonna, oh yeah. That's definitely not gonna do it. Oh wait, what? Hmm? Why did that work now? Is it gonna be... What is going on? Body or... Oh, yeah, because it's not constrained to the right thing. Did I break the constraint? No, that's right. Hmm. If I do the... Offsets it. Stuff zeroed out. Because I removed it from the hierarchy and put it back in. It is. Oh, you know what it is? It's me cleaning up my scripts. I think. Oh wait, no, that's not working. Okay, so... I believe... So let's undo all that again. Let's see what changes. So we pull that out, put it back in. We'll get rid of that. Oh, wait, no, we don't want to keep that. So, damn. I want to duplicate that. We want that to be bigger. Pull that out. Put it back in. What's different? Ooh. Nothing's different. Oh, Maya. It's because I have something with the same name. Oh, wait, no, wait. It's because I put it under the wrong thing. Yeah, damn. Okay. I know what I'm a dummy. It's not under body. It's under the root. That's what's happening, I think. But the eye is under there. And that's working. Nope. Pull that out. Put it under the body again. Not working. Earlier in the hierarchy. It's going to be something to do, I'm guessing, with the parent constraint. Because where is the... doesn't have parent space. This is probably something that would be more interesting for me to check in my own time, as opposed to going through it on stream, because I'm trying to comprehend a problem that I don't understand. Hence me blankly staring at the screen. When you're trying to replicate behavior and you don't know what the deciding factor in that behavior changing is. All right, we're going to rebuild. See if we can do it clean. See if we can figure out what's going on. So we're not cleaning up constraints, so it's not going to limit any different world space matrices. So you pull this out and it fixes it. Put it back in. Does it fix it? No. So why did it fix it before? Is it one where it has to be outside of the hierarchy to begin with? Potentially. So we do that. Delete the custom parent constraint. Turn on this so we can select the output transform. Away. I want it to be this. We can use that instead. And then put it back underneath. Nope, still same issue. There. Put under when it's compressed in. Yeah, that's where you can start seeing the scaling issues come about. Oh wait, it's because I turned off inherit transforms by accident? Nope. If I turn that off and I turn off inherit transforms. that's what it was, probably. The question is, I don't think that's going to export into a game engine. Will it? Segment scale, compensate. Or maybe it will. I'm not too sure. Who knows how scale works in game engines? This is something I need to test myself, because I'm not actually sure. I think this is an issue I've encountered with my fingers. Like, I've got controls that allow fingers to scale out as well. And I think because they're in a hierarchy, this issue where the inherit transform segment scale issues. Because basically, like, when the joint is underneath this joint above it that is, like, scaling in a unique way, it passes that scaling information onto the child, but it doesn't look like it. But it still causes that offset because it's still utilizing that scale. Yeah, this is something I'm going to need to keep an eye on for game engines. Because honestly, I don't use scale on joints all that much. If I'm using like stretch on legs, for example, I'll feed in the stretching information, not into the scale, but I feed it into the translation. So the translating joints further apart from each other creates a similar kind of effect. And because I'm layering twist chains on top of that, that's how like skinning gets distributed down between them. So it's strangely enough not something I've worked with all that much. Okay, good to know anyway. What else do I want to do tonight? Sorry for the tangent, folks. Just took me a while to understand what was going on there. One thing I want to do with the tail as well is I want to add some additional, like, tip controls to the end. One thing I found that's pretty commonplace in a lot of tail rigs when you're posing them is you lose fidelity towards the end because you expect there to be like a higher concentration of controls towards the end, right? Like I'm trying to pose this right now and I can get a pretty decent pose, but it's like, I kind of want like this last part to be, you know, a little bit of extra curl. Even if I set this stretch to be on, you can sort of see it's hard to like get. In fact, we might even want stretch on might be a detriment to it. Because you can like pull that out and then pull that. Yeah, it's just not like optimal to do it this way. So it'd be cool to have like a little an argument where we could say, okay, we want to do some tip controls in between the last control and the final control. There's like some sub controls which are controlled by them and they can also offset everything. But how do I want to do that? Just be having like a higher concentration towards the end. These are like the primary ones. Or do I want to add some in the middle? What do we got for tails? Tail component. Oh, I'm running low on tea again. So with the tail component, driver, tail curve layer, number of controls, twist joints. So I believe the way the script should work, let's rebuild. The core concept would be when you specify how many controls you want, it finds the start and the end places a control, places like a reference transform between them, and then adds additional controls in between. So you'd want sort of like a reference control transform here, and then a few in the middle. I'm heading off, Rob. Thanks for the stream. It was really fun to hang out with you all. See you next time. Thank you very much, Steven. Hopefully see you next time, buddy. And thank you for the gift sub as well. Much appreciated, my friend.
Well,
See ya. Oh, actually, one thing I wanted to do as well, I need to set up my shader. I have a shitty shader for this guy, but I want to connect it up so I can test my shader loading, because I haven't done that in a while. What is going to be the best way to do that? Did I put it in here? Maya swatches. Do I have a shitty texture? I thought I did. I do. Let's do this. Lambert, and we can select a file. Yes. Hooray. The most basic texture you could sort of get. Because I don't actually know how to texture, guys. I believe what I did was I just created a UV snapshot. Yeah, like that. Pulled that into Photoshop and did some gradients across every which way. That's my way of texturing, which is also probably like 15 years behind where texturing is at now. Looks great. Mish, thank you for your pity. Let's rename some of this, buddy. Because in a similar way, I'm not too sure if I like this method anymore, but like the way I save out shaders is very similar to the way I save out basically all my other stuff. It's through a JSON file where I'm basically recreating a node network each time, saving out all this node network information and then reconstructing it, which I don't think is entirely necessary. I think it might be a better idea to sort of like save out just like what shaders, information of like shaders connecting to things, and then just like saving it out as a separate file with all the shaders in there, loading in that shader file, like a Maya file or whatever, and then connecting everything up. Because I have a feeling like just saving out a whole node network is going to be too prone to issues, because I won't be able to like account for every single different kind of type of shader node and connection that could be available. I mean, it works for now because like this is a really simple shader network. I just want to make sure these are all sort of like renamed.
slow down, sir. You're
Borna,
going to
welcome,
give
my
yourself
friend.
skin
Thank you much for the resub, my man. How's your day been so far, Borna? A little bit later in the day, yeah? Is it lunchtime for you? That one's file. It's later today. I very rarely catch you in the later today. Yeah, you've caught me on a sleepy stream, man. Like, I've had pretty, when I say intense, just a project that's got to, like, been condensed down into 2 weeks when it should have been a little bit longer, so I've had to, like, work a few longer days to get it all done in time. And tomorrow I'm hopping on to, like, a bunch of other projects just to get some smaller stuff out of the way on them. And then I'm onto a bigger project on Thursday. I am a sleepy, sleepy boy. Poppin' Panadol like a madman. Is Panadol? Panadol's a thing everywhere, right? Or is that just an Australian thing? Is it like paracetamol and shit? Something cough syrup. Make myself some scissorp. This would probably be a good time to say I have no idea what scissorp is, but I know it's in that song Like a G6. And I'm pretty sure it has something to do with cough syrup. Alright, shader. Where is my... Do I not have a shader save UI? Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, I see. Like a G6 was released in 2010. But it feels like yesterday, doesn't it? Like, what a club anthem. When we do it right. Getting slizzard, drinking scissorp in my ride, like 3-6. Now I'm feeling so fly, like a G6 or something like that. Hold on, now we gotta, like a... I want to find out what the lyrics actually are. Far East movement? Oh boy. Popping bottles in the ice, like a blizzard. When we drink, we do it right, getting slizzard. Sippin' scissorp in my ride. Like 3-6. Now I'm feeling so fly, like a G6. You know what I like? The fact they rhymed 3-6 with G6. It's, well, not too bad, guys. Not too bad. The face when you can't remember where your keys are, but can sing a song from 2010 note for note. Dude, like, my brain... I remember like fucking commercials from when I was like 8 years old, which I still quote like regularly. It's like Simpsons quotes. There's a portion of my brain that just remembers all of the early seasons of The Simpsons, and it just pushes everything else out, which in turn is a Simpson reference. Goldman Sack 000. 2018 was 5 years ago. Don't remind me, man. Like, with COVID, 2 years don't count, okay? 2 years, especially here in Victoria, we were locked down for 2 years, basically non-stop. So I am still 31 as far as I'm concerned. Well, I'm only 32. I'm 30, okay? I turned 30 this year. I'm turning 31 this year, not 33. Right. Save, select, transform shaders. Yes, this is what I do. I turned 30 in 5 months, and I can't wait to get my ultra porn license. Is that what defines you as an adult? Now you get access to all the secret alcohol we've been keeping from everybody. I believe this one. Actually, let's do this main subcomponent. This one's going to be tail A shaders main 0101.json. JSON! Let's save that. So, if I remember correctly, I should just be able to put it's a loose reference to Futurama Season 1. Season 4, yeah, I was gonna, like, I owned Futurama Season 1 on DVD, which I watched several times when I was a young lad. And I can't remember the Ultra Porn stuff. So I believe... Let's save this. save this. Shaders. Let's just do that. Just in case. I don't want to recreate it again because I'm lazy. Simple. Bing, bing, boom. Bing, bang, boom. And if I rebuild, fingers crossed that it's going to load on all the shaders as well. Nope. Oh, wait, unless I just... Oh, yeah, there we go. Whew. Sick. Other thing would be setting up a control shape file just for future references as well. We're all from the same generation. Millennials. Or didn't they used to call us like Generation Y back in the day or something? Back in my day. Teaching rigging to all those Zoomers out there. Is there anything else I want to sort of like set up on this dude, which is going to be before a bunch of crazy stuff? Well, there ain't much. Because I would like to go to bed soon, but it's still a tad early. I've only been streaming for 2 hours. What can I do in the meantime, folks? That's not going to send me down a rabbit hole of editing my modules. What's the other character? Oh yeah, I was gonna do biped legs. Maybe we can set up some stuff on that. This guy, everybody's favorite horror show. Because I don't believe I've got anything for that one. Yeah, let's set up some stuff for that. This one's called... What is it called? Legs biped A. Actually, this one will be good for me to test. Ah, yes, okay, this will be good. Because I do need to test that the APOS TPOS stuff works on this as well. Because, I mean, it does, I know it works, but I want to confirm it works in a build. And I'll need to rename some stuff in this one. Actually, okay, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly grab some tea. Just my last batch for tonight. So I'll just head on over to the Be Right Back screen. And I'll be back in just a jiffy. And we're back. I want to see some booby physics. Bonner, you absolute mad lad. I believe in the new Resident Evil, there is some very slight physics in that. People were like complaining about it online, and then someone pointed it out, like, "Oh no, they're still there." Who's the character that you have to like escort around in that game? I've never actually played it. I've never played Resident Evil 4. I think the only Resident Evil I've really played is 5, the one when they're in Africa. Ashley, there we go. Yeah, what do people have for, like, game recommendations at the moment? I really just need to fucking take a break and play some video games at some point, but I can never figure out, like, what I want to play. I've got, like, Halo Infinite that I play on the odd occasion, but I need, like, something else. Something I can just spend, like, $100 on and just play for a weekend or something and be content. High Fleet. What's this? It's an incredible game. Is it sort of like FTL? Getting some like FTL vibes just from the layout. Yeah, sort of. You know what? I've never played FTL either.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Oh, damn, okay. Yeah, I'll need to check this out after on it. I'm terrible when it comes to video games. I've got like a huge, it's like me in watching TV series. I've got like a huge list of ones I need to get through, and I just never get around to watching them or playing them. I think, isn't like Last of Us coming to PC quite soon as well? I gotta run, but I highly recommend this. Easy, quick, and fun. Thank you very much for the recommendation, Borna. Thank you again for the resub, my friend. And thank you for joining the stream tonight. Hopefully see you in the next one. Have a good lunch. Don't work too hard. So this is Legs Biped A Guide. And do I have like some old? Yeah, I could just steal it from the old one. But I think this is a remix. Big Sean. Oh, B11, yeah. This is probably gonna get me copyrighted. Let us change. If you haven't, Hades is... Oh, Hades. Yeah. Man, I've heard a lot of good stuff about Hades. Yeah, because they're working on a sequel. The sequel's coming out fairly soon. Or maybe not fairly soon, but I know they're working on it, right? People, like... It's sort of like a semi-dating sim as well, where you can, like, chat up some of the characters in between runs. I've seen various things of people standing all these characters. I was like, oh, okay. Fair play. I haven't romanced anybody since Mass Effect. Have you guys all played through the Mass Effect? Oh, by the way, as well, welcome, Wesley Rudson. I didn't say welcome to the chat, but welcome. So this is basics. Let's go to legs, biped A. Get that set up. And screen. I think this should set up very basic stuff for the legs. It does, and good God, that is horrendous. Let's bring that back in, and we'll save this. This is guideline. First base. So with these, we can quickly find the middle part of this using our cluster script, where you just select all the components you want and build a cluster on them. It's a really easy way of finding the center point. Definitely other ways of doing it, but that's the way I like. And that's the way I like it. Build one there. Build one there. Build one there. And probably about here. Man, it's supposed to be future funk. Why is it all like boring? Why is it so boring? Halfway through Keats 50. It sounds boring as well. Nope. I need new music, guys. Keep going through all the same stuff, I feel. What about Future Society? I've seen some things in Mass Effect, lol, I've never played it, but I've watched my brothers play, and there are so many choices to pick from. That is true. I think that's the appeal sometimes for those games, right? Where you can sort of like impact the stories between the games. But I can totally understand like decision paralysis, you know? Plus with those games, it's less like you're playing a character. You're mainly just playing the good version or the bad version. There's no like... It's not sort of like Fallout or Fallout New Vegas, I should say, where your stuff is more impactful and less like good or evil. It's sort of like shades of grey, you know? New Vegas is a good game. I do like the art direction in Mass Effect. All the aliens are like really well designed, and the sort of the universe, the fiction of the universe is really good as well. I think they're working on a new Mass Effect, right? Just not sure what BioWare is working on it. Out. Where is that? Let us quickly turn on some reference plane. I also need like a script so I can quickly select my reference planes and increase them. Like overall, there's a point where I want to go into my joint guide system and like overhaul everything. Where it's going to be more like UI focused. It's going to be better to reload and save things and generate rigs and everything. The capacity to rename stuff and everything. It's just not high on my list of priorities at the moment, unfortunately. But it's something I definitely want to do. Trying to Google the name of the alien you can romance. I forget his name. Garrus? Everybody's favorite. Garrus Vicarian, I think his name is. Hot boy Garrus. Did I? Yeah, please want that to be flat. That's okay. These ones. Who did your brothers romance? Mish, if they were playing. The blue alien girl. Oh, that is... Oh, man. Liara, I think?
Why would they come to our concert?
Ooh, thank you very much for the follow. Nekoa. Nekoa. I assume every single time people have to pronounce your name, you're going to accentuate the O's. Neko. Such a kawaii baka Neko. But welcome to the chat, Neko. Thank you very much for following. These are in the ground. Want them to be flat. Not underneath the ground. Oh god, don't crash. Don't crash. Oh, it's crashing, isn't it? It's crash, guys. Derp. Thank you, Maya. Talk CSGO. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for sharing in my misery. That's I don't know if has that ever happened on stream before? I know I've like caused Maya to chunk before, but I don't know if it's ever just like given out on me. I'm pretty sure that's because I was using object space rather than world space to match those. Alright, hold on one second. I will start up Maya once again. Honestly, like, Maya doesn't really crash all that much for me, I must say. Like, I get the good end of the stick most of the time. I really can't complain. Everyone's always like, oh, Maya crashes all the time, this and that, and I'm just like, I never see it. Like, one crash every now and then, it's perfectly fine with me. Alright, we're back in action. Oh man, I mean I did save that, but I don't think I was Control-S-ing very much. What's the time? Yeah, that was like 10 minutes ago. God damn it. Yeah, with nothing laid out. Poop. Poop Feast 420. It's just an annoyance, you know? It's not the end of the world, but my god, I just did like all of that. It's just the most annoying shit to do over and over again. People always say, oh, you do it faster this time. I'm like, shut up! Let me wallow in my misery. want the ankle to be there or here? No, definitely up higher. I think that's gonna make more sense. Maybe. Can always change it later. I just wanted to get to a point where I can save out the joint guide data, set up a really quick T-pose, and just test that. That's all I want to do. Then I can sleep. Then I can sleep, folks. The sweet embrace of the crypt. That's what I need. Actually, we probably want this one to be the opposite way up. Let's do ER. Do you want this to be centered? Yeah, probably. Oh boy, I really gotta save this before I attempt to match anything this time. Lest I suffer a similar fate. Put jar there. I also need a better way, like when I'm laying. Oh, yeah, I do need to go object mode. Damn it. I need a better way when I'm laying out all my joints, or like creating them for the first time. Like we've got these massive joint radiuses, massive control size. It'd be good just to, if I like had when I build them and it loads them in, it just maybe separates them based on the control or joint size I'm using. Just to avoid visual clutter and make things easier to select, sort of like from the get-go. That would be another thing I'd want to add. Alright, I'm saving religiously at the moment. I wonder if we'll come in contact with aliens in our lifetime. I'm just looking at the concept art for Mass Effect, and it's amazing. The one thing about, like, alien stuff in all of these games is they're always very, like, bipedal or anthropomorphized, right? Like, if we were to meet aliens, they're probably going to be, like, bacterial in some way or something, you know? Simplified sort of life forms. I mean, there might be, like, stuff up on Mars, technically, that's, like, life that is alien, but it's, like, a very simple thing, not, like, a giant coming to kill everybody alien kind of thing. Still cool, though. That appeals to the nerd in me. Again, let's select these. Actually, I can just, can I select all that? Yeah. Like that, select all of them. And we're going to put it into world space. So this time, hopefully Maya doesn't crap its pants. Okay, good. We're okay. I think this might all be fine for the time being. Let's save that. Let's mirror our guides. Oops. That. Rehards! Welcome, my friend. How are you doing? We're still trucking on as we approach midnight. Yeah, how's your week been so far? How's all your... Are you still working on your auto rigger? How's progress going on that? do want to separate this one a little bit. Put that in there. And let's make sure that this one is oriented correctly. I think it'll be the inverse. We want the Y to be positive, right? Yes. And the up vector to be negative. That's cool. Great, great, great. Cool. Let's make sure that's definitely all mirrored. And in fact, while we're here, we can just like guides. Let's set all the guides to the lengths. Let's set the stretch blends off. And let's select all controls with no tertiary. So we can quickly key these. And we can set up a rough T-pose. Si, senor, it's going well. I figured out the mirroring and started to refactor some stuff so I can move on and make it bigger. Ooh, interesting. Okay. What's the kind of bigger stuff you're moving into? Like more advanced limbs? Different kinds of limbs? Stuff like that? Or... yeah, once your mind's sort of been like unlocked, you know, it's like unlocking your third eye. You're like, oh, but wait, I want to rig this. I want to do it this way. Oh, wait, I could do it with this and this code. And now I know how to do it now. And yeah, it's a dark rabbit hole. Oh boy, am I in? Oh god, I'm in auto mode. Nope. World space. Thank you very much. I don't want another crash. How's your week for you? My week has been, my past few weeks have been busy. Just coming off a project today. That was 2 weeks in the making. Had to do a few late nights to get it done in time, because I wanted to do as much feedback as I could, or get as much feedback in from animators as I could in the time that I had. A bit of a push, but was definitely had some fun challenges. And I'm going to continue to be busy for the foreseeable future with some upcoming projects. So definitely excited about those. Been discovering more things about drawing windows. As in like drawing windows through UIs and things. Qt, PySide, stuff like that. Or am I completely missing the point? Is this? Guys, match control to joint. Yeah, there we go. That's awesome. I hope you're getting rest as well. Not much rest, honestly, at the moment, but I can sleep in a little bit tomorrow. As Mish is going to do as well. Mish is going to get 8 hours of sleep for me, aren't you, Mish? Everybody in this stream gets 8 hours of sleep, okay. I can't talk. I never get 8 hours of sleep, but I really should. I just aim for it, but like I always wake my watch. It keeps track of my sleep, right? And every time I wake up, like my watch always says, you slept for like 7 hours and 58 minutes. It's always like a few minutes before 8 hours. It knows how to push my buttons. All right, we got this. Very, very rough. Guide, rig, data. Data. Legs, biped, A. Files, guide, rig, data. 01, JSON. What's the bet? It's not going to save out the keyframes, and we'll have to come back to this one and do it again, but we can soon find out. go. Okie, make sure this is all saved. And we can build it. Oh yeah, Maya crashed, so that's gone from my script editor. I was like, where did it go? Yeah. I get 8 hours, but I went to a rave last week, and I can feel the lack of sleep from days ago. I mean, yeah, if you're at a rave, I guess that kind of comes with the territory, right? Were they playing? Do people still play like traditional rave music, or was it like something more modern? EDM, something like that. This ain't working. Why is that not working?
Don't you know the poem? Water, water everywhere, so let's all
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chloe. Chloe Worthy Art. Not sure. Have I seen you in stream before, Chloe? Not sure. But thank you very much in any case. Keeping me nice. Hydration is also very important. Yes, welcome, welcome. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Hope you're interested in boring technical mumbo jumbo, as is rigging. Why is that not? Oh, you know what? It is probably because I haven't updated this. Right. Is it? Ring bing bar. Wait, no. Yeah, this is right. Any advice where I should start learning Python for Maya? Nabe hobby or Nabi hobby. I say, oh yeah, I pronounce things like in Japanese. It's like just second nature to me, unfortunately. I go. Oh damn it! What resources in chat? If you go to any of those hobby, so Rigging Dojo is a good place to learn. Basically, rigging in general. The course I used to learn Python for Maya was Driv's one. Yeah, Rehards recommends it as well. He's got a lot of good stuff. It's not just limited to Python as well. I think Rehards, you said he's got a Mel course as well, which is useful. But there's also Chris Briggs, his Patreon, which is really good as well. For I think $20 a month, you get access to all of his stuff. So it's not just Python, it's like Maya API done in Python, but like not just limited to Python commands. You can also do PySide and things like that. So yeah. Tok CSGO. Did you study scripting before rigging? No, I didn't, Tok. Actually, I never really studied rigging. Rigging was just something I sort of learned. I never really had like a formal rigging education, unless you count like when I got hired as a rigger and then my lead would teach me stuff and whatnot. Yeah, I basically did a lot of manual rigging first, and then when I got hired like full-time as a rigger, my my lead rigger was basically like, oh no, you gotta like, I'll teach you some Mel, and then it like kind of unlocked my mind. I think probably like what Rehards is experiencing with his UI building at the moment, and it's just all of a sudden I was like, oh, my third eye opened, and I was like, holy shit, there's so much stuff I can do with this stuff. So there's like pros and cons of going one way or the other. I think it's probably best to like try and learn them both at the same time, because one can support the other. But you don't need to go like so far down a rabbit hole with scripting that it's like, I need to make sure I script everything. I'd probably recommend just like doing small little things to help you sort of automate daily things you do as a rigger. So, you know, renaming joints, a joint hierarchy, creating a simple FK chain of controls or something like that. Just small things that can maybe help speed up manual processes is probably the way to go. But I need to figure out, why is this not loading? Sales guide, rig data. Oh, asset name is wrong. Legs by day. Learning as you go. Very pog. Very poggers. Let's see. I think this should probably build through now. Nandaro. Got it. Oh man, that's through that. Robbie is one of the OGs we all need. Original gangster riggers? Can riggers be gangsters? I guess so. Alright, oh, and it saved that out as well. Great, okay. Oh, this is setting up there. Actually, no, I don't need to save that because that's all saved out. That's fine. So, what I want to do now is do a quick test of the new extraction stuff we were doing. So we got the tail rig renaming dictionary. We want to do this for the legs now. Actually, I think this one might be smaller than this one. So what we did earlier in the stream tonight, guys, if you missed it, is I've set up a system for my joint guides, where I, like previously I've had to go through manually, extract the A pose, extract the T pose, do all this stuff. I've automated that out, but I've also set up a way to change what the outcoming joint names are going to be, because they're normally very specific, but I want a way to like sort of be a bit more freeform in what those can be. So basically I can feed it like a big dictionary with a bunch of different names, and it's going to swap them to it and keep all of my pose information and things like that. So we did it before with the tail rig, and we can do it just before we cap off the stream with these legs. And I believe, I think I might have some of these set up somewhere else in this list, right? Yes. Yes. Man, my stomach is growling. I'm hungry for some reason. Oh, it's probably all the tea that's sitting in my belly. Me so hungry. I need that. That's a good Simpsons one as well, when Homer's like, oh, me so hungry. That's a good one for a new command. Chloe, I would get food. Unfortunately, it is currently 5 to midnight here, so it might be a little bit beyond that.
Don't you know the poem? Water, water
More,
everywhere,
more.
so let's all have a drink.
Oh, tea is making me hungry. My dogs are hungry. Yeah, there's no one for me to eat, is there? Gorge on something. Ankle, ball, toes. And then these additional ones. Ball, toes. Hey, Lucas, welcome, welcome, buddy. How you been? I love the school janitor from The Simpsons. You mean groundskeeper Willie? Bonjour, ya cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Oh yeah, the toes is the end. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, Skinner, that's the last time you slap your Willie around. Being busy a lot get in the way of me watching the stream, unfortunately. Dude, like, busy is good. You absolutely do not have to join the streams. But I am glad you are here. And I hope you're having a lot of fun working on whatever it is you're working on. So remember, guys, if you miss streams, the VODs stay up for 2 weeks. Otherwise, I do upload them to my YouTube channel. What is my... If you go to my link tree, you can find stuff there, or on my socials. It's my Twitter, ArtStation, and YouTube, if you don't have them already. I mean, today is one I really wanted to watch, but I have to leave soon. I mean, we haven't done anything, like, hugely interesting. It was mainly a little bit of weird joint troubleshooting and a bunch of renaming of stuff, so... yeah, I've just been, like, too tired to delve into stuff in extreme amounts of detail, but, yeah, if I get some free time, I'm gonna try and, like, help structure things a bit better in future streams if I can. Get some stuff going on behind the scenes. We got hip, knee, ankle, bowl, and let's rename these ones. So we got the root, the body. One thing I should mention as well, like, because you guys talking about Python to Mel, like, a lot of people shit on Mel, but Mel can be really useful in the fact that no matter what Maya version you use, the Mel is going to work, right? Like, one thing I've experienced on a few projects recently is going back, because all my code is in Python 3, right? I've had to go back to Python 2 for some of my stuff in order to build it, because there's a really annoying thing between like Maya 2019 and 2020, and like those ones compared to Maya 2022. Because 2022, they introduced new ways of building deformers. They now have, what is it, component tags or something? So the way deformers are built is different, which changes a bunch of like Maya API code, and it also changes how those deformers are built. So if you like open a rig from 2023 and from 2022, in either 19 or 20, it doesn't work. Like, the skin clusters don't load because the way the deformers work is different. The whole rig, like, the way it's constructed and everything, actually does work, but it's like you have to rebuild all your deformers or reload skin clusters and things. Whereas if you had everything set up in Mel or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just like, you could just load everything in because it would work between all those Maya versions. Yeah, I have to shout out to Loic because he helped me set up future F strings, which is like a Python thing which allows, because F strings don't work. They weren't a thing in Python 2. They're like a Python 3 thing. Not only that, but they're a newer Python 3 thing. There's actually a script you can, there's like a database you can download, a Git repository you can download called 3to2, which will convert all of your Python 3 code to Python 2. The issue was it was last updated before F strings were a thing. So basically all of my shit is F strings. That's like the one Python 3 thing that I use the most of all. So like I couldn't use that. It took me like hours to figure that out. So Loic had like sent me something on Twitch like a while back called Future F strings, which is like a way of like having F strings work in Python 2. And he helped me set that up and basically saved my ass last week. So yeah, have to shout out my boy. So we got root base. As long as it works, no problem. So we got root, we got body. Oh yeah, I need the end of the body. Let's see that one. Pelvis. Oh, it's pelvis. Oh. Yeah, of course. Okay, let's rename that. Well, the nice thing about it is we can just rename this. And it doesn't matter what it's called. Okay, so I think this is all good. So basically what this means is we specify a root joint, we extract our poses, the A pose on frame 1, the T pose at frame 11. We set it all up, then we're going to rename stuff based on this dictionary. The original joint, changing it to these names. If it's got a do mirror flag, we can do the same on the other side. And we specify the mirror strings based on these options here. So if I take this one now, and I'm just going to load that into our temp script. So let's see if this all works. And of course, because Maya crashed, I don't have the script saved in my script editor. Let's see. Boom. Extracted that all out. We can grab this with our pose UI. Set the T pose. Ooh, doesn't work. No, it doesn't. Did I do something wrong? It did extract everything. Oh, but it hasn't renamed some things. Oh, yes. That would be why. Those need to be joints. Let's undo. Oh boy. Is it actually going to let me undo? Might have to rebuild. Yeah. Una más. Just going to be wrapping up after these last few checks, folks. Probably about 5 minutes or so. Actually, it might be less than that if this all works. Everything is renamed appropriately now. Fantastic. Let's see. T-pose. Still not setting that T-pose. Is it because... So that's setting. A-pose is there. Whoa. Oh yeah, that's right. Undo that. Should be extra. Hasn't updated the names. Oh, yeah, I haven't so wait, why did... Oh, we didn't have A and T pose in the last one. I was like, why didn't it work in the old one? Of course, because it didn't really matter. We need to add in this to the script. To update the name. Update meta tag. So basically, for those who don't know what's going on, when I set my A and T poses, it's based on the root control, or the root joint of my joint hierarchy. On that joint, if you go into the extra attributes, there's this joint pose meta tag, which basically saves a dictionary to this string attribute. And in here, you can see like we've got A pose, and it's got a bunch of joints in here. Now, because we've renamed all of these joints, it's trying to set a bunch of transforms on joints that don't exist, hence nothing happens. That's why when I was like trying to set the T pose, which like moves the legs inward, nothing was happening. So what I need to do is, because I've just missed out a step where I'm renaming everything. So the root joint, I mean, I'm gonna need a way of updating this at some point. I'm just going to do this temporarily through this way, just to make sure it actually works. Root joint. Or do I need to specify the... Oh, no, that's definitely the new one. Rename meta tag. Rename dictionary. Oh, yeah, because I haven't set this up either. Rename meta tag joints from dictionary. So, what was the naming convention I was using? Original joint and new joint. That's easy enough to set up. Rename dictionary. Oops, no, what is it? We want to do get. Just to make sure it returns something. And new joint. So though in original joint, new joint, is that gonna work? Suppose in dictionary for joint in that's not how it works. We want the dictionary list. That's what it's going to be. For joint dictionary. I think that should work. Why don't this is stupid boy? How does this set up? Propose in the meta dictionary. New dictionary. I think it should just be that for joint, original joint, new dictionary. We need to do them all for each pose. This might work, this might not work. And we want this to be joint dictionary list. Let's see. Is that the end of it? Yes, it is. I have a somewhat long question. Do you mind if I ask it here? You can certainly ask it here, Lucas. I am going to sign off in just a second. Do you reckon it'll have a long answer? Otherwise, if you want to ask it in Discord, I can take a look-see when I wake up in the morning, if somebody else doesn't get to it first. But I'm definitely, yeah, if you want to post it here, like, by all means, man, go ahead. Object. Oh boy, why did I do that? That might have actually done it. Would did it for one side. Oh! Because I'm going to have to set up it for the opposite side. Aren't I? I'll ask on Discord then. It's probably better. Yeah, no worries, man. Go right ahead. Yeah, I'm probably going to fall immediately asleep. I'll try and get to it in the morning if nobody else does. But I think most people in the Discord are pretty happy to like help out most of the time. So you might get an answer before even I can get to it. So this, I just need to get the mirror. Where did I put that? These ones. The metadata. No problem, I have to leave too. I'll ask when I get back. No worries, man. Catch you next time. Hope you have a good day. Don't work too hard. So, metadata. Where does metadata come from? Is that in my commands? No. Okay. Is it? Where's metadata? Yosulado. Hello, I got a question related courses. Do you recommend CG Master Rigging courses? I don't know if I'm familiar with those, Yosaldo. Do you have a CG Master Rigging? CG Master Academy? Are those the ones? CGMA? I believe, let's see, which ones you got? I honestly can't say, who made this one? Diego Olivares. Intro to rigging. Who did he? Oop, that's gonna play a trailer. Nope, don't do that. DreamWorks Animation. Lectures by Fabio Sino. I think CGMA, to my understanding, I think they're supposed to be quite good. My friend Matthias, he made a course for them a while back, as well as my friend Jose. And like those guys, I can account for their technical competency. Definitely know them. And their skills. I can't say like the courses themselves because I don't have any like experience with them. But to the best of my knowledge, I think CGMA are quite knowledgeable. I think they treat their staff and everybody quite well as well, and students quite well, to my knowledge. So, yeah. But if you're looking like, have I used the course personally and can recommend it personally? I mean, I can't really say on that regard. But I know some cool people who have been involved with them. So, yeah. I am not going to be able to get this stuff working tonight. I'm too tired. I need to do mirrors for the other side. In this meta tag renaming, I'm just going to come back to it, I reckon. Because I can't just pull in that. It's going to be included within the thing. Yeah. We'll leave it there for now. So we got half of the renaming stuff working. The main issue is the way I've set up the dictionary, because I've got like do mirror information here, and I've got like original side strings, new side strings outside of it, and I need to feed like this entire dictionary and then unpack all that stuff, and then also use my naming string comprehension to update stuff, and I can't be bothered setting that all up tonight. I am just going to quit while I'm ahead, basically. OpenMD, I can't whisper you. Okie dokie, I appreciate your comments. No worries, mate. Yeah, I do generally recommend resources. I'll post that just in chat again. Rigging Dojo, if you haven't checked out Rigging Dojo already, they have a bunch of great courses, similar stuff. Actually, like Matthias, one of the guys who wrote the CGMA course, I think he originally started at Rigging Dojo. That's where he originally learned some stuff. So can highly recommend them. Brad Clark, who's one of the founders of it, he's super knowledgeable, and they're always like pushing out new courses. I think they did one recently that's quite popular on parallel evaluation optimization, which is really, really good. You should definitely check that out if you're looking to like make fast rigs. All the other recommendations in my resources there are largely to do with more like scripting, and there's one for like facial reference and things like that. So, yes. Of all the courses, I'd probably say, yeah, Rigging Dojo would be the safest bet, but I'm sure like the stuff you get out there is going to be worthwhile as well. All right, folks, on that note, any other questions before I head off? I'm just gonna, I need to get to bed, so if that sort of answers all the questions for tonight, I'm gonna just do a little bit of extra hydration before I go. Push all this stuff as well. Cool. Mish, you got a question coming in at the final second. What would you like to ask? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. Love is a Hadaway song. What is love is a Hadaway song. And a classic at that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is love? On that note, folks, I love you all. I wish you a good day, a good evening, a good morning, whatever time zone you may be in. We'll be streaming similar time next week as per usual. Well, fingers crossed, I'm not dead before then. As always, make sure to check out our Discord if you haven't already. Feel free to ask any additional questions in there, and I'll try and get to them unless somebody else gets to them before I. But as always, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you to the new followers tonight, and thank you to the people who subbed and resubbed as well. Definitely appreciate you guys helping out and supporting the stream. So until next week, folks, don't work too hard. I'll catch you next time. See ya.